Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rutledge, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人张叔，在纽约向您问好。周一美股收高，我们看到今天标准普尔500指数是如我们之前所预测那样，成功的突破了历史的一个高点。原因在于11月30号，欧佩克石油输出国组织将与非欧佩克石油输出国组织坐下来开会，来讨论是否就当前的原油供给进行一个控产协议。而在此前，虽然市场对于这一控产协议能否达成是存在着很多的质疑的，但是这几天随着包括像俄罗斯总理普京出来表示，俄罗斯已经做好了准备参与到控产协议当中，这一系列的利好因素是使得市场对于这一控产协议达成的预期越发的升高了，这也是使得今天原油价格猛涨的一个重要原因。另一方面，今天虽然没有重要的经济数据发布，但是我们看到了美联储副主席 Fisher 出来做了一个关于货币政策的讲话。在这个讲话中，他提到当前美联储的货币政策对于推高未来美国的一个生产率有着极好的作用，而这也被市场解读为是在为12月的加息进行一个预热。而根据芝加哥商品交易所的联储观察工具显示，12月加息的可能性已经达到了95个百分点以上。好的，更多的消息让我们来看一下今天的交易员访谈。Hi, Scott. Your stocks traded higher today, and we see the energy sector leading all the sectors. And also, as you wished, the S&P topped the all-time intraday high. So, how did that happen? Would you mind to introduce again?
How did this happen? So many people are like, how did this happen?
Yes.
You know, it hasn't happened overnight. It's been methodical. A methodical move that we've gone over so many times here on this recap, me and Annabelle together, trying to show you past patterns that had moves happen that could give us clues on how to react after this post-election. So let's just get to the chart of the S&P cash. We definitely looked at the post-Brexit move many times and tried to give you the example of what happened. The post-Brexit move lower, the unexpected move higher, and then what you could have witnessed and looked at to make some adjustments to play the next move to the upside, which was about 80 handles. So here you had your pre-election move, then you had your snapback. So the question was, can we get to all-time highs? So I didn't wish for all-time highs, but I wanted to have a tradable move that was methodical to be involved to make some money. And that's what happened here. We've gone over this so many times. What happened here? This descending trend line got broken. Then you saw commitment above it, so you could have been buying here, even if you didn't buy because you didn't know what was going to happen on a post-Trump, elect attitude, etc. So here, boom, and now all of a sudden back to all-time highs. You're going to see the headlines everywhere. People are going to say, how did this happen? Everyone who's watching here knows how it happened. It happened with a nice technical move that if you learned how to interact with it, could have made you a decent amount of money.
As you just mentioned, the move after the election is very methodical and also strategic, which means we have to look for the leading stocks among all the stocks in the market. And today we see Apple is leading the market, and also we see this strength in Google and Amazon. So does that mean the tech sector is leading the way right now?
No, they've actually played some catch up, which was good for the market to see. Okay, we didn't want, like a year ago, we tried to get above S&P 2200 and we couldn't because those were the only 5 stocks rallying. Now you have, the small caps at highs, you have materials at highs, you have the Dow Jones at highs, you have all these sectors participating, which helps keep it up. But then what we wanted to see is we wanted to see tech rally back with oil. So it was nice to see Apple have a tradable move. If you read my note, okay, I talked about buying Apple if it cleared this 110.50 spot. Okay, so it was a nice trade. Here was your reclaiming the 200-day, digested, and then continued. So it's not leading, it's not at highs, but it was good to see, and it was a good trade today. Even Facebook's been out of favor. They announced a huge buyback. In the note, I said, can it reclaim the 200-day to adjust? So it not only reclaimed the 200-day, cleared this pivot and gave you a nice trade. So now it's back above the 8-day, and we'll see if it can continue a little bit higher. So nice setups. That's what we look for, setups. So it was good to see the participation there. And Amazon I didn't trade, but the best stock out there, or perceived to be above the 200-day, trending up into some resistance. So not leading. So the markets are at all-time highs. These names aren't. So I think that's actually healthier, not a bad sign.
As you just mentioned, I think the real leader of the day is energy stocks, and they traded higher over the optimism on the OPEC deals. And last week you mentioned that we should buy oil, and today it traded higher. So would you like to elaborate more on this topic?
Last Monday I was on Fox Business and oil was like at 42, 43, and I said, look at the red dog reversal in oil. I'm going to buy some, even just to trade the range. Sometimes it's just a good trade, sometimes it's a good swing trade. How do you know the difference? Look here at USO. Okay, this was Monday, last week. What happened? A red dog reversal. What's a red dog reversal? It trades below a prior low, comes back above it, you buy here, that's your stop. From 1180 down to sub 10 was worth a trade. And then you got some follow through, but then what happened here? This gap did not get unfilled. It was protected. So you could have been selling some and then holding some because you have your stop here, and now you're getting paid again. Now we'll see maybe tomorrow if it tries to tag the 200-day, but overall, a nice methodical move. And then look at the XLE. We've talked about how it's been above the 200-day now for 6 months. Okay, that's a nice technical pattern here. Different than 2 years ago. Look about when it was below the 200-day. So here is your avoid, below, 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 reclaimed. So some accumulation here. So I do think that the XLE has some more room. Maybe you could see 76 before the year's over and it closed, below 73 or maybe even a little bit higher. But technically a better picture than below it there.
好的，感谢您的收看，我们明天再见。